you probably are wondering why, the name of this podcast, if you clicked into it or you entered this feed, it's the Andy is antiviral. I believe something about antiviral, and the reason that is because I am virality's kryptonite. It has nothing to do. I figured some people might think it has to do with a certain type of flu that's going around. You know what I'm saying? But it has nothing to do with that. It actually has to do with viral content. Most of the things that you're suggested on this website or wherever you watch video, it's mostly viral videos. You get suggested videos that go viral, and these are the types of videos that I am the opposite of. Like if you took a viral video, flipped it upside down, that's me. I'm virality's kryptonite. Remember last week how I talked about that website Fiverr, where it's absolutely bananas. It's bonkers. You see jobs and listings on there that are completely asinine. I told you about the witch doctors, how you can go to Fiverr, find an actual witch doctor who's willing to perform a spell or build a doll for you and put needles in it of somebody. These are jobs that are available on Fiverr. Well, I should offer some sort of service where I ruin people's view counts on their videos, because I'm like the cooler when it comes to virality. And it got me to thinking, you see all these viral moments, the Karens, all these Karen moments. You see someone in a park, oh, look at that, it's the next big Karen. If I was ever stuck in one of those situations where they attempted to make me the Karen, whatever, maybe my mask was below my nose, or you pick whatever it is that they get angry at people for. Now imagine that was me, and the person pulled out the phone. Oh, I'm filming this, and I'm going to put this on YouTube. I'd be like, oh, please do. Because by virtue of you including me in your video on YouTube, it's the one surefire way to guarantee it's never going to be seen. Like, you uploading this right now, guaranteed means you're going to be the only person viewing that video. That's why I don't worry about any sort of, like, how many times I've tried to go viral? This is an attempt to go viral. And you want to know where it's going to go? Exactly where all of my Karen videos would go. And that's absolutely nowhere. 42 views, and that's about it. So I have no Karen worries where I'm out there in the free web. By the way, I have this prepared. I have it fully prepared. If somebody comes up to me and tries to pull any sort of public stunt and they pull out their phone, I'm immediately going to default to, please upload this to YouTube, I beg of you, and you're going to find out what I found out for many years now. That video is remaining directly in the bunkers. You know what I was thinking about? This was one of the topics in the online dating special, which if you haven't watched it, it's here on YouTube, a watered down version, or you can check out the uncensored version on my Patreon. People think it's funny, the few that actually were able to find it. But I always wondered when I was going through the online dating apps, are actual girls now named Karen more apt to go with like that AJ or AJ? How did Karen just turn to AJ? Um, like KJ or K. So I feel like that belief. I was a girl and my name was Karen, with the whole, with tearing into all the Karens out there, you can't feel confident going onto a dating app being a Karen, especially if you're a plain looking white chick with a plain gray shirt. You can't be uploading yourself onto online dating apps. You're ripe for the picking. You're getting screenshotted left and right. So you're going to have to go with something different. You're going to have to go with the KJ. That's what I was thinking. Or you can actually embrace it. You can embrace it and say, you know what? My name's Karen. You can actually use like your bio to address that. Look, don't be scared off by my name. Okay? Like, that's what I would do if my first name was Adolf. I'd have to be like, look, I know what you're thinking. Slightly different issue that you have to deal with between Karen and Adolf. But um, you know how I had mentioned that the You're Still Here podcast is proudly brought to you by nobody. Well, on another podcast that I do, it's a small podcast where we talk about daily fantasy sports, which is DraftKings FanDuel. It's basically a subset of gambling, even though it's not gambling. Definitely not gambling. Definitely not. And we evaluate these NFL lineups, and we pick players in these lineups, and what we try to do is pick a player that we guarantee listeners is going to do well that week. And we call it the Men's Warehouse Pick of the Week. Not because it's brought to you by Men's Warehouse, but simply because at the end of our pick, like this week, I'm going to pick Tom Brady. And that's my Men's Warehouse Pick of the Week. You're going to like the way he looks. I guarantee it. We really just do it so that at the end of the pick, you can say you're going to like the way he looks. I guarantee it. It's not brought to anybody by Men's Warehouse. However, when I upload these clips to Instagram of our Men's Warehouse picks of the week, they get flagged. They get flagged as misleading because it's saying it's not a sponsor. So apparently their AI, it's not enough for them to, to drown out my comedy content. Not enough to suppress that stuff. And if, by the way, if you don't know who I am, you think I'm one of these delusional people. If you go to my Instagram videos, used to get 300,000 views. People were loving my parodies, and then it went down to 1,200 per video, and it's still there in the bunkers. Remember, 300,000, 200,000 to 1,300. So if you think a couple buttons weren't clicked, then who's the delusional one? But regardless, this other podcast is just it's strictly nerdy sports stuff that I try to bring a little humor to, and they even flag that account. I'm the most, I guess everyone thinks this. I bet you this is all AI driven, but trust me, it feels way better in my head to know that there's like a group of people, one like a representative from each social media company getting together, like the United Nations of Andy hatred, where they're all plotting in unison to make sure that none of my, jokes, because this isn't politics here, just get suppressed because, still have a couple opinions of my own over here. Oh, when I'm on these, when I'm doing these live streams, I'm actually a little more relaxed tonight. It's because I had to get up very early today. And it's because I'm a little better now, but I woke up with a stone cold stiff neck yesterday. I'm talking about, I'm sure this has happened to many people out there, where whatever that you catch that draft or you sleep in a certain position. When your neck is messed up and like how it's connected to your nerves, so if you try to turn, when that's messed up, you get a whole new lease on life and appreciation of good health. It's no different than when you're sick. You just say, "Oh my God, I just wish I'd do anything to be healthy," and then you take being healthy for granted again immediately the next day. But it once again made me think about that point that I illustrated. My memory's foggy with exact weeks. I just come on here once a week and I start talking. But I think this was relatively recently. I think only about a month ago. But I was evaluating happiness and how often people try to gauge whether they're happy or not. It's one of like the main questions we ask ourselves if we're content or happy. And I really want to apply that same logic to me having the stiff neck, because yesterday it was brutal and today it's manageable. Why I'm still doing this. Left, I'm fully back. Right? It's tough. But I think if you're a regular person and you wake up and your first thought is anything generic, like, I wonder if we got any K-cups left downstairs or whatever. If it's a generic thought about your day-to-day life, then I personally believe you're happy. My old saying is, by virtue of non-existing unhappiness, then you are by default happy. I know that could be flawed logic, but there has to be something to it. You know that old, you don't appreciate what you got till it's gone? I think I think you're happy and you're not going to appreciate it until you're miserable. And you will be there, trust me, cuz look around. There's a lot of it to go around and it will catch you. If the virus don't get you, misery will. Um what else did I want to talk about today? The I just write little things that I think about throughout the week off to the side here. You know, like if I was better right now, I would do a little commercial. Like I'd put like a little, please hold until we get to the next topic, and then just log off to the side and see what the hell else I had to reminded myself that I wanted to talk about. The next little topic I wanted to talk about was one night stands. Now I guess I have a certain level of familiarity with this premise. I've heard of it. I know what it is by research. Now you can make your own. You can draw your own conclusions uh, about whether I've partaken, but we'll leave that to your imagination. I clearly haven't. So, what I think about, because my mind, it's I don't have a typical mind. I have a very weird mind. You know what I think about with one night stands? I think about a split screen. Like anytime somebody tells me there's a one night stand, or if I'm out with friends and one of them meets somebody and they end up going home with them, or vice versa, she takes him back to her place. All I think about, all I want is, like, all I see in my mind is the exact second when they met, and like a time stamped version of it. So a guy and a girl meet each other, like, oh, hey, what's your name? Oh, it's Dan. You know, I love using that name, Dan, because you don't meet enough Dans anymore. I feel like simple names are getting thrown away, so I'll keep using this name. Hey, I'm Dan. What's your name? Oh, Kelly. Oh, what do you do? Oh, I fill in the blank with the generic questions. Oh, I went to San Diego State. Where did you go? Oh, I went to Santa Barbara. How was it? It's good. And you're talking about these generic things. I used to. I went. I think I saw one of the football games. But oh yeah, yeah. And then a mere 2.5 to 3 hours later. So that's the initial of this split screen that plays in my head when I hear about a one night stand. There's the meeting, especially if I saw it, like I'm with somebody and I see this go down. I, I take a mental image of the exact moment that they met and just that generic. Oh yes. Oh, everything's so cordial. And then I split screen that with the animalistic act that they're partaking in a mere 2 hours later. And I find that so fun. And I guess I just sit back and smile and go, wow, that's interesting. Like, really, it really is fascinating. Like, if you think about meeting somebody and just the cordial nature and, hey, oh, whoa, whoa, and then 2.5 hours later, and don't lie to yourself. You know it's happened 2.5 hours later. You know there's been those instances you meet somebody at 11:15 and then you went back with them somewhere at 1 a.m. And at 1:30, you're in the midst of that. I just find that absolutely hysterical. I find it because it's almost like borderline fraudulent when it starts. Like, oh yeah, I used to do. Yeah, did you? I took the one train and then yeah, you get there pretty quick, 20, 35 minutes. It's it's a funny concept. I don't know if I'm the only person who does that. I find myself thinking that quite a bit. That I bet you're the only person who does that. But as a real rather dumb person once told me, well, you know what they say. If I'm thinking something, you know somebody else is. Somebody said that to me to defend something like rather absurd they were doing. And he said that, and I really just wanted to combat him on that. But then I actually thought about it. He's technically right. If you're thinking somebody, or if you're thinking something at all, the law of averages suggests somebody else is thinking the same thing. Okay, there's 350 million people in this country. There's 7 billion people on this planet. You think someone else doesn't have those thoughts? It's just like You know how many good jokes have been written by people who were never on stage, and then they watch somebody take the stage and say their joke that they knew they had, and if they had the platform, they would have been able to deliver. You feel a little, um, in my older age, I begin to forget words. Um, this is so ridiculous. I'm. You know what I'm saying? I'm projecting. Ha ha. God, I hate when I don't know words. I used to know a whole ton of words, but they start to shrink one at a time. And I'm like projecting because this has happened to me years ago, years ago. I I used to say, I had a joke that I was gonna kind of develop about a girl blocking me on all fronts, like, and she blocked me on Facebook and Instagram and Snapchat. So I actually, the only ways I could keep tabs on her was through her Venmo timeline, and literally this was like the when Venmo just launched, and I was sitting on that for a year waiting for the right time to use it, and then who steals my thunder? It's not even like I got to see a comedian perform it or write something around it and make an audience laugh. Do you want to know who got to enjoy that? Generic meme account, the Daquans of the world, the faceless memers who are the last people left who are allowed to say whatever they want because there's no face tied to their accounts. You know what? I'll say this once a month till the end of time. You don't know what Daquan looks like, but he's more known than an Olympic athlete. Yep, Daquan, the meme czars, memester, the meme lord, whatever the hell they call him. I'll hate those meme accounts to the end of time. Always remember this. If somebody says they run a meme account or they want to start a meme account, say, "Oh, so you're just not funny in person?" Just tell them that. And I know you're probably taking offense to it. We all obviously think some memes are funny. But if you follow one meme account, you follow them all. They are they are thieves to the highest degree. And not those high level thieves, not the Ocean's 11 thieves. They are surface level thieves. They're walking into a western, they're Biff Tannen walking into a western bar in Back to the Future 3, that is. And they're holding it up with some guns. That's the level of stealing that they do. What the hell am I talking about? I was talking about them stealing my Venmo. I was stalking her on the. I had to resort to stalking her on the Venmo timeline. Thievery by the memes. Back to Venmo. So, on Venmo, what I used to do. In previous episodes, I've mentioned something called karma enforcement. How there are people out there, and I think we're all guilty of this somewhat, where we track karma and then we believe we can enforce the levels. Like if we believe somebody wrongs us, we are now justified in righting that wrong to even the even the scales. So there were a couple instances. So I have Venmo, but I don't have my name. It doesn't say Andy on there. There's a full. I go by a full alias. Okay. Like let's just say my name on there is Shooter McGavin. Let's just say that's my name on Venmo. So if there were ever any instances, I know there's one in particular. So if somebody wronged me in a sense, like I know there was one time, there was this, very attractive girl who I went out with, and look, it's just, it is what it is. When you go out with somebody like that, they are 8 times more likely to just do something that's just, bail on you, pull out, do something shady, like, you name it. It exponentially goes up, and it's understandable. I'm not even blaming them because, they have 5 million options at their disposal. However, there was this girl. I met her the old-fashioned way. Just went up to her. That's my shtick. All right. I don't know. I'll never be great at the text game, but I'll walk up to you and I'll try a little something. So there was this girl. I met her, and then I took her out. And look, when I take somebody out, I go the old school, somewhat gentleman route. Try to pick a place that is relatively nice. I take care of it just because that's what I feel comfortable doing. So, in my opinion, like if you had the worst time of your life, I completely understand. I'm a relatively weird guy, so I like legitimately understand. Like, I know. Trust me, I know. I have to deal with me all the time. But it's when you show a certain level of respect like that, like you do the right thing, you would assume that the least, and by the way, you should never assume this, but you would hope that the least you get back in return is something along the lines of, like, oh, you know what? I'm sorry. You can even lie and just say, like, I don't really feel like seeing anybody right now. I think you say something. But I got the classic ghosting. And most people, they take the ghosting, and I think they just punch their pillow and hide in a room and just pretend they don't care, but they're livid. But somebody like me, I explain this to people. When I get screwed or perceived as screwed in my own head, I believe that there's like a boardroom of people somewhere out there in the ether celebrating whatever happened to me. Like there's a group of my villains, like a kid I fought in the 8th grade, my ex-girlfriend from 10 years ago, and I believe they're all congregating in like the Andy demise boardroom. And when something like that happens, I feel like, oh, look, he got excited. He met that girl. He went out and he took her to a nice place, paid for it, and then she ghosted him. And they're all high-fiving in the boardroom, having a fantastic time celebrating my demise. And it just so happens that I'm that kind of guy. I can't do anything truly heinous. I don't have that in me. Sometimes I wish I did, but I got to do something. I got to do something. Like that stab you throw at the end of the movie where you don't take out the main character, but you leave your mark on the movie with that last stab. Let me think of a good example of that. I mean, come on. There's got to be so many horror movies. I mean, I don't know. This just popped into my head. The most recent Friday the 13th movie. The main girl that the kid from Vampire Diaries, I believe it's Vampire Diaries, is attracted to. Just they finally find his sister, and that girl just gets destroyed, killed, murdered by Jason. And you thought that all three of them were going to get away, but the least important of the three, but still the likable one, went out. Well, that's what I try to do. I'm Jason Voorhees taking out your sister before I truly go down. And what I used to do, and this really is, in my mind, pretty harmless and innocent. It's nothing. It's truly nothing. You like this justification? But what I would do is I would send this girl, or in this particular case, this girl, I just send her $1 on Venmo from this alias, because I don't go by my name on Venmo, just to elicit, who the hell is that? And when you have, look, this is borderline conspiracy theories. You don't want to believe me, it's fine. But from my experiences, I'm a relatively perceptive individual. Okay, I'm the same guy who knows that they don't use the same cream in double stuffed Oreos than they do in single stuffed Oreos. I'll talk about that at a later date. But trust me, I'm perceptive. I notice little things. And it seems to me, I blame myself for being attracted to very attractive girls. I know it sounds logical, but I blame myself. However, it always seems that these very attractive girls, this is no secret, they fall for the a-holes. I got a little a-hole in me, but not enough to do that, like to go the full level. And they're always attractive, in my opinion. They always end up with these people who are brutal for them, don't treat them well, abusive, not necessarily physically, but they're always controlling. They end up with these people that are real bad. It's bad, Jerry, real bad. And so I take a calculated guess that if I send random people $1 sporadically on Venmo, it just is like a ticking time bomb. Who the hell is this? You think this girl would know that a guy she went out with once and then just ghosted and then didn't hear from in weeks, that when she received a random dollar from 𝐄𝐩𝐢𝐬𝐿 in Venmo, she would put two and two together. And look, I know it's borderline Joker from Batman burning the money. It's like madness. Some people just want to watch the world burn. There is a little of that. I know it. But remember, the difference between me and most people, I show it. All right? All right? I did it. As Owen, I did it. But I would send this girl $1 sporadically, and sure enough, I get a Venmo request from some guy who I surmise were her boyfriend. He friend requests me and goes, "Yo, comma, who the are you?" Wait, I got the beep. You ready? Yo, why you sending my girl money? Who the are you? And I know it probably sounds weird without me actually mouthing the F, but this guy was livid. He was livid because he, if you have a, and by the way, this girl was above an 8, and I'll let you imagine how far or what a not far she was above an 8. And this guy, he was checking her phone. If that Venmo went off on her phone, picture them laying in bed, her phone lights up. The guy has to, his insecurity comes out. Who's that? Oh, just Venmo. Who sent you something at 1 a.m. on Venmo? Let me see. 𝐄𝐩𝐢𝐬𝐿, $1. Thanks for the other night. Oh, I didn't leave that in. I didn't tell you about the note. Look, it's all in the notes. It's all in the notes. And I sent her $1. Thanks for the other night. And then this guy aggressively friend requests me, "Who the are you?" So you want to know what I did? I sent him $2. And that's me. Full Joker, Heath Ledger version. Watch the world burn. Not even the Nicholson version. But I would do that. Because I don't like when a theoretical boardroom of nemesises from my past enjoy when things don't go well for me. Yep, the non-existent boardroom. But, karma comes around for me, then I'll just wake up with a stiff neck. And I'm not going to the doctor. I'm not going to the doctor. This is a great time to talk about doctors because of everything that's happened in the last couple of months. Doctors are politicized. Doctors are scrutinized. I sound like Stephen A. Smith. They're like, the doctors are scrutinized. It's politicized. It's mercurial. But these doctors out there, here's what I believe. If you go to a generic doctor, like so-and-so generic doctor, where you go, I got to go to the doctor. You want to know what you do? You go there. You go to the doctor with whatever your issue is. Then you notice the doctor comes in, and then he goes, oh hey, what's wrong with you? I'm like, oh, man, my neck hurts here, and I get a little numb on my right side. And you describe your symptoms to the guy, or girl, the doctor. And they go, okay, all right. And they jot it down. And they go, okay, so-and-so's going to come in. You can check your height, check your weight, run some basic tests, and then I'll be back in a minute. You want to know what the doctor does and why they do it like that? They write your symptoms down. Then the other person comes in, the medical assistant comes in to do the measurements. Then the guy just goes back to his office and Googles your symptoms just like you would. That's all he's doing. He doesn't know. If you had to snap test that doctor, hey, what do I have? He's going to be like, he's in a panic like you would. He doesn't know what you have. And then he sends them in there to do that. You know what? And now it's time for the scam of the week. And unfortunately, I don't have music here live on the podcast, but you know what I can do actually on these YouTube feeds? There is music. There should be music playing right now because I can add music after the fact from the YouTube library. Now I'm going to have to spend 25 minutes finding music that I find adequate for, representational of a scam. So now that scam's music playing, it's the preventative care scam. The preventative care scam. And this goes, basically, it's piggybacking off of what I was just saying about how when you go to the doctor, the generic standard, doctor 101, that they're just Googling your symptoms and telling you, oh, yeah, man, I think you got a little ammonia there. They don't know what you have. You got to go to specialists. But furthermore, I'm gonna parlay this into preventative care. If you don't know what preventative care is, it's basically nothing. And there are certain healthcare plans that they say, oh, preventative care is free, no copay, nothing. Basically, it's saying you get to go there, pay $0 for preventative care. Do you want to know what preventative care is if you go to the doctor? You think like, oh, well, they're checking everything. Preventative care is that scam like they put headphones on you and you got to raise your hand. I did that last time. I just made it. I'm like, I go, watch them pass me. I just started raising different hands at different times. They didn't say anything after. Didn't say, you're here and that's pretty bad. Nope, they just let me get away with it. And they take your height, they take your weight, and they say, hey, you eating healthy? All right, man, your doctor visit's complete. That's what health insurance is covering. A guy putting headphones on you and playing sounds. I could do that to you right here. There's more money and technology invested right here in this 10-foot radius than there is in a preventative care visit to the doctor. I actually checked this recently. When I was younger, I never cared about this, but now I checked about what's covered. I checked what's covered on the preventative care, like under in that umbrella. It's all like consultation and evaluate consultation. Yeah, talking to some guy. That's what it's called. And how about on top of all that, Zoom? Like you can now use that. Like, oh, with the you can have your Zoom meeting with your doctor. So this guy just sits down in a chair on Zoom and goes, oh, well, you're right. Let me see that ear through that 480p camera. Yeah, I think that looks good. No, that ain't wax. I think that's good. Yeah, well, what's your insurance number? Run it for $900. I tell you, the preventative care scam, and it extends to dental too. Do you want to know what preventative care is for dental? You go there, and they literally brush your teeth. That's what preventative care is for dental. They brush your teeth, something you could have done at home, and then they squirt some fluoride in it. And I believe they include x-rays in it just so that they can then tell you, oh, yeah, you got a big cavity, and none of that's covered. So, woo! Yep, the preventative care scam. Coming to an employer near you. Oh. So how you guys doing? Hope your weekends were well. It's Monday right now at 1 a.m. on the East Coast. But I guess it's Tuesday at 1 a.m. And I guess, it's back. It's still Monday over there in all other parts of the country. It's 1 a.m., but I could go to McDonald's if I wanted right now because McDonald's is always open. But somebody explained to me why when you go to McDonald's, they have designated times for things. Like, oh, wait, let me get a burger, fries. Oh, we can't make that for you, man. It's 11:15. So when do you make it? In like 25 minutes. And they would make you, I swear to you, they'll make you stand there as the bag of burgers is right behind them. And then arbitrarily, 25 minutes later, they go, all right, now we can make you the burger and fries. You pride yourself, like this is McDonald's here. This is not Cafe on the Green. This is not Mastro's. Okay, whip out everything at all times. So you can flip a burger at 12, but we can't flip that McGriddle at 12. No, they still got those things, McGriddles. Oh, I can't have a cheesy gordita crunch. It's 11 a.m. No. Stop with that. It's nonsense. Okay. Let me see. What else? What else do I want to talk to you guys about? That might be it. How the hell long have I been doing this? Hold on. Time for a quick YouTube. Time for your quick. You know what? I'm just gonna try it and see if it works. No, it's not. I think I may have cleared it, but watch this. Imagine this works. Let's give it a shot. No, that's not working. Yeah, that's definitely not working. All right. I can't see a darn thing. Hey, I need some leeway when it comes to these streams. It's not like I got a camera here, I got my topics there, I got to see what's going on here. Imagine people were trying to chat with me. There's just too much going on here. Oh, that's what I think. Anyway, um, I think this is where we're gonna end it, ladies and gentlemen. Unless there's something random that I think of or that I didn't talk about. Um, no, that's about it. I wrote a note over here. It just says the game club. I have no clue what that means. But anyway, thank you guys for joining the podcast. I know, look, I've said this to you before. I'll say it again. At least I'm not one of these people on TikTok. Okay? Go to TikTok after you're done watching this if you made it to the end and simply go to I think if you go to the top left, it will allow you to view the live streams. If I don't talk for like 5 seconds, if I leave 3 seconds of dead air, me just clicking the computer and not was going and oh oh ADD. I'm sorry. Me just clicking that computer, and now I'm gone. By the way, this is what like a right here. This last 2 minutes. This is what a blown audition looks like. You're lost. You don't know where you're going, and you've ruined it. But fortunately, I think if you made it this far, you're okay. And the best part about it is I can't even cut any of this out. But okay, I remember what I was gonna say. I feel like if I don't speak, I don't do anything, just these past 3 minutes, your average person's gone. I feel like if you do anything that isn't immensely entertaining for longer than 5 seconds, somebody's completely gone. They're gone. It's just the way it is. You got all those windows next to you, and you know the thumbnails. There's a chiropractor video probably right next to this one, and the thumbnail is of a guy losing half of his arm. So of course you're going to click something like that. But at least I can hang my hat on the fact that I'm not the people who are on TikTok. Because right now, if you go on TikTok, there's a girl folding a shirt in her bedroom, and she has 720,000 concurrent viewers. And apparently, they're just fine with it. They're just, that's it. I just need to watch somebody fold. This guy over here breaking his back, telling you about, revealing that he's sending people like the Joker $1 on Venmo to get back at them and send their current crazy boyfriends into a downward spiral, all because they think some wacky person is like funding their girlfriend off to the side. And I'm putting that all out there for entertainment, but no, the TikToker, she's folding that shirt, folding the whites tonight. Yep, tomorrow is the colors. And she's raking in those viewers. But maybe one day I'll be raking them in too when I'm out of the bunkers. That's going to be my first tour, ladies and gentlemen. Remind me because I have a bad memory. So if I ever say, man, I think I'm going to go on tour, that's how big I've gotten. Something's happened to blow me up so much to the point that it's put me on tour. That name of that tour, you heard it here first, and I will not change it. I don't care I don't care if Mountain Dew comes out and goes, no, we can't do that. Out of the Bunkers is the name of my tour. Out of the Bunkers. I might even have to change the name of this episode to that. Out of the Bunk. No, I will not. But Out of the Bunkers is the name of my tour. All right, this is where we end the live podcast. We had some fun. I told you a couple things that I probably shouldn't, but we keep it 100 here. That's what we do. We keep it. I hate stuff like that. But anyway, thank you guys for joining. Thank you, gals. Thank you, folks, for joining. I hope you enjoyed the podcast. As always, I'm going to say something that I always say, and I know you don't want to hear it, but the least you can do is tell somebody to listen to the podcast. Subscribe here on YouTube or iTunes or Google Podcast or Amazon Podcast or Spotify, you name it. And I'd really appreciate it. Like, you'd be my bestie for life if you subscribe to me and support me on Patreon. That's my main source of people who enjoy my stuff, who help, fund some of the little projects that I want to start putting together, and just use to pay for maintenance fees and server fees and all that good stuff. But if you can do that, I'd greatly appreciate it. It's patreon.com/AndyFrancis. Hey, look, once in a while you're going to get the rambling me. You know what I'm going to do? I'm going to use the excuse. Well, come on, man. It's 1 in the morning. It's 1 in the morning. Besides, half the people you see on here are some of, what, I'm not even going to go there. But thank you so much, and I will talk to you folks next week. Take it easy. I'm just going to stare at you because I know I can cut this out later. So this is where the windows are going to come up. There should be a window here or a window here telling you, hey, look, here's some other stuff. Here's some previous You're Still Here podcasts. And over here, you're going to see a parodies playlist.